What's up, guys? You already know what's going on. My name is Andrew, and you're listening to Genuine Radio. I'm here today with Miss Aleighya Saunders. Miss Saunders, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Andrew, for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Aleighya Saunders. I am a sophomore at Temple University, double majoring in political science and Spanish, and I'm happy to be on Genuine Radio.
Thank you. And we will be talking today about the aftermath of the election.
Mm,
Um, this past, let's say, past 2 weeks has been very, very, very both stressful, both like people have been anxious. This country has been through a lot these past 2 weeks.
these past
So,
4 years.
yeah. So I guess my first question to you is, um, how do you feel about the results of the election?
Um, that's a good question. For me personally, seeing Biden win gave me hope. It placed faith and hope into our democracy, and it showed me that my vote actually does count, and my voice was heard. This was the first time I voted. I was a first time voter, and it was an amazing experience voting. And my best friend actually wasn't going to vote, but like I was like, you need to. I dragged her out and I was like, you have to vote, because she was just feeling so hopeless about the election and about our role as youth, especially in our democracy. But Biden winning just replaced that hope and faith that I originally had in our democracy. And it just gave me hope, and it made me feel like, you know, there's strength in numbers. And, you know, even though we're a minority, if we keep like fighting and pushing and prevailing, we'll get somewhere. So yeah. What
See,
about you?
that is interesting. I feel similarly. I feel as if seeing the celebrations in the streets that followed the announcement of the election was a good sign.
Yeah.
Things that were circulating on social media days prior to this election result was that, oh, there's going to be violence, but we didn't really see that.
No, not
There was just joy in the streets, people celebrating. And you did mention the importance of voting. This election really showed that because the numbers were pretty slim
yeah.
in some states, and President Trump did have a lead initially
Hmm.
in some key states, and we saw the how close the election was.
Right.
So I guess that reiterates the idea and the notion that your votes do matter.
Right.
People think that their votes don't matter. They do.
Yeah. No, this election was definitely war. Like it was war. And I think that I'm happy that, our votes in this election wasn't stolen by the Electoral College, because I feel like the 2016 election, even though Hillary won the popular vote, the election was stolen by the Electoral College, because that's when they all voted for Trump and he ended up being president. But yeah, no, this election was definitely war. And I think the silver lining in Trump's presidency is a lot of people were actually woke now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people were paying attention. I've seen a lot of young people like advocating on their social media to go vote. A lot more young people speaking out, and a lot of activists and advocates, especially celebrities with a bigger platform. I've just like feel like the advertising to vote for this election was much more than last election. You know what I'm saying? This was the most that I've seen, like vote, 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 vote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You mentioned something that was interesting. You said that you were happy that this vote wasn't stolen.
yeah,
70 million people in this country who voted for President Trump won't agree with you.
right.
So I guess my question going off that is, how do you feel about President Trump's behavior
Hmm.
and his refusal to concede to Joe Biden, the president elect?
Trump is always he's always been an entertaining character, but I feel like him not conceding was just showed that he was a sore loser. I feel like low key he knew like he was going to lose, but you know, he definitely is butthurt. But yeah, no, I mean, I want to say he didn't enter the office gracefully, and he didn't leave the office gracefully. Like he came in the office as who like he was, and he's left as he came in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not
Hmm.
surprised at all. Like that's expected.
Yeah, and it's very, like, in a way, I feel like he also did know that he was going to lose,
Yeah.
because from the big, like, months before this election, he said, "Oh, it's going to be rigged. It's going to be, the mail-in ballots." He kept trying to undermine the integrity of the election.
Right.
Um,
And the
and
people too at that.
yes, yes. Um, and it's very discouraging to see, because once, I don't know why he has a, like, he's a one-term president. Hypothetically speaking, he can run again in 2024 if he wanted.
Definitely can. That's a
Um,
scary thought too.
yeah. Um, so I don't know why he's trying so hard to refuse to concede to Biden, going to courts and stuff, um, when that's a possibility, you know?
Yeah, he's acting like a child, but this is not news. He's,
Yeah, not at all. Um, I would want to ask you too, your personal experience as a first time voter. Um, how do you how did you feel, if you remember the feeling, when you first voted, and any other comments
yes, oh my
surrounding
god.
that?
Yeah, so honestly, I was genuinely excited to vote. I never really understood the emotion that corresponded to voting. Like I would always hear of adults like, "Go vote! It's so important." Like they spoke of it like so pridefully, And I think that me voting, like I low key almost teared because I was like, "Wow!" Like I'm here, I'm in this booth, like my finger just felt so powerful. I feel like everyone should be afforded, that feeling and that experience, and that's why I dragged my best friend out to vote because I wanted her to have that experience as well. Because we as women fought for the right to vote, and not everyone has the right to vote. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about our country. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely am not taking that for granted. But it definitely would have sucked if, me being a first time voter, I went in there so excited and ready to vote, and then Trump won, and I would have been like, damn, I really have no faith in our democracy. Because this whole like Trump being president, as a black person in America, it definitely had an existential crisis, especially as an advocate and an activist. I definitely thought about like my purpose, and how this system is really like, it really just needs to be destroyed
Hmm.
altogether. Because all the work that we're doing, like everyone's doing, is almost, sometimes it just feels like hopeless.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's a lot.
That's very interesting to hear, because I know in this election specifically too, and in prior elections, people chose not to vote.
Yeah,
Um, Whether it be because of the two candidates, they didn't like one or another, or maybe because they were just lazy. Um, and the decision to not vote, it does, I don't know if people realize this or not, but it does, I feel like it does affect the result of the election.
definitely.
Um, so, what would your message be to people who maybe don't feel that like their vote counts, or who don't choose to vote, um, in future elections?
I definitely would say, I think one of the beautiful things about our country is like we don't have to vote. It's definitely a choice, but it's an inspiring, powerful choice that we have. Even if you don't believe in it, I say still go ahead and do it. Like it doesn't hurt. Like I too, at one point, I didn't know if I was going to vote. I was just so unsure. Like obviously, if I knew I was going to vote, it was just going to be Democrat. I was going to vote blue. I was going to vote for Biden. Obviously, like no question about it. Just because like this election is more about not the candidates, but the war itself and getting Trump out of office. But this 86-year-old lady came into my job, and she walked from her doctor's appointment all the way to the LaCroix Center because there was early voting at Temple,
Hmm.
and she voted. And it sucks, but like it was closed. But she said, I'll be here. I'll be coming back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and I'm gonna get out of bed and come out to vote. And she said she had wished her husband, was alive to have seen this, to have seen like Trump out of office. But that inspired me because if an 86-year-old woman, disabled at that can go out to
Mm,
vote, then I, 19 years old, able, no excuses, I can do the same. You know what I'm saying? And it really
mm,
inspired me because it really showed me that people really put faith in our democracy and they have that faith.
mhm.
And I want to have that faith too, and I do now that Biden won.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a beautiful story. Um, Now let's move forward to focusing on President-elect Joe Biden. Of course, he was elected, and he will be the next president of the United States, um, along with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
Ugh.
So, how do you feel about both of them and their candidacy?
um, Honestly, I definitely, I feel like it's a win and lose situation. Like
Mm,
everyone knew, to be honest, I didn't really pay too much to, the presidential race. Like I didn't pay too much to the debates. I didn't pay too much to the messages, just because this election, I feel like everything that Joe and Kamala have been doing, I feel like I don't think it was a waste of time, but I just feel like at the end of the day, it's not even, I just feel like it was a facade almost. Like they were doing all of this advertising and speeches and debates, but at the end of the day, people are going to vote for you because they don't want Trump in office. I feel as though like the American people deserve a candidate in which we truly believe in, not where, again, this is the second time we have to choose between the lesser of the two evils. um, I don't really feel any way about them. They're definitely not, candidates that I feel like as America can do better in terms of candidates. But Kamala did make history being the first um, black and Asian descent vice president. Not only was she like female, but like she's also black. Apparently she's Asian too. I saw a meme about that. I just feel like people are just prideful. They're like, yeah, Kamala's VP and she's Asian or she's Jamaican. So yeah, she definitely does instill hope and is paving the path. But history was made overall with the election, with the amount of people that voted, and with the first VP. And I'm happy to see that she was black. I just hope they don't assassinate them.
my gosh, I don't think that'll happen. I mean,
No,
I hope
honestly,
not.
no, honestly, like low key, I'm surprised they didn't assassinate Obama. Cause like a black man as president, like come on now. I was worried
um,
for him. I was feared for it. I fear for his life. So I just hope they don't assassinate Joe. But like they're not gonna do that because then Kamala would be the president.
yeah, I hope not either. That would be quite unfortunate. But I know that a lot of people do agree with you in the sense that um they know that Joe and Kamala aren't perfect.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things. I saw something on social media that said we're not happy that Biden won, we're happy that Trump lost.
right.
Um,
It's a fact.
and I feel like that's just an unfortunate place that we are in right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like in presidential debates. They shouldn't be debating who's least racist. They should be
Right.
why do you have to be racist at all? You know. Um.
Definitely.
So I feel like there's definitely room for improvement in terms of candidacy
Mm-hmm.
in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I encourage anyone who's interested in politics to
Yeah.
go to to start building your career and potentially become a
Yeah.
candidate for president.
And I definitely do think things are changing with our generation, that things are going to improve with us. Um, but yeah, definitely is a celebration Trump is out of office. But I mean, they always say it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you're there. I know Joe and Kamala deep down, I know secretly they know, okay, we only got this position because people hated Trump more than they liked us. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
hopefully they do something with that and they turn that around, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I was honestly like, I didn't really pay too much on the election results. Like, I had friends that were like watching every second of the votes. I didn't stress myself out with that. You know, I said my prayer, I left it up to God. I went about my, I did what I could. I voted. That's all you
Yeah.
can really do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it sucks feeling helpless, but like just the celebration of it all. Like I literally woke up to like everyone on my block yelling and applauding, and that really was something nice to wake up to. Like life definitely felt more lighter, and I
Yes.
felt more hopeful. Right? You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. I remember walking on the streets. There were people like beeping their horns. Like it just felt. It was just a joyous atmosphere.
Yeah,
I never really saw anything like it before. It was quite a beautiful sight.
it definitely was, and it's just people were celebrating, and I don't think that's happened really before. But that's how you know, like that's really saying something about our country and its politics. If people are in the streets
Yeah.
celebrating,
Yeah.
that this tyrant is out.
Yeah. It definitely does. I guess one of my final questions would be, what do you hope to see in our country under the Biden-Harris administration?
Um, I definitely hope to see the social culture changing and improving, because Trump definitely instilled confidence and white supremacy and the racism that was going on. It was a lot. It was not the same as the racism that we received in when Obama was president. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
People were like quiet. Now people, when Trump was president, people were more open about it. But I definitely hope to really do see some social changes and some changes or plans in place and policies enacted to really improve our world, like climate change. We have
Hmm.
a president that believes in science, so I definitely want to see this COVID. Really, I feel like the first 100 days should be just guided and directed towards this whole pandemic.
Hmm.
I think that's what everyone's looking for is like this pandemic being over. I know people are looking forward to the employment checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just want to see people really being served, you know what I'm saying, and really benefiting from the election.
Hmm. I agree. I really hope that Joe and Kamala, they work to unify the country. Joe continued, like, in a few of his speeches, he said, "I'm gonna be like a president to all Americans,
Yeah.
no
I like
matter Democrat or Republican."
right.
So I really hope that he's able to do so, because the past 4 years, I feel, has been people have been so polarized,
Yeah.
um, and it's been like it hasn't been a good place to be as an American.
Yeah. No, definitely. We definitely have been a lock and stock of the world with Trump as president. But yeah, also too like I feel as though like one thing that really stood out, like you said, was Biden in one of his posts after the election, he just really emphasized the fact that he's going to be president to all Americans, whether or not you voted for him. And what I respect about him is he honestly did not want to run for presidency at first. He got into the race for the sake of the people. And I think a lot of candidates did. Not a lot of candidates. Some candidates had their own personal agenda, clout chasing.
Hmm.
But yeah, we know celebrate now. Like I said, when he won, celebrate now and criticize later. You know what I'm saying? We're celebrating
Hmm.
he's out of office, and we'll criticize the fact. We'll criticize Kamala and Joe. We always do. Presidents always get criticized because I feel as though they're the face of the party. Even though they really don't have that much power, they're definitely the face of the party in the country. So
Hmm.
whatever goes wrong, they get the blame. Um, but yeah,
And I feel like in a way that's a good thing. I feel like, they know that they're like, they know that people have the potential to critique them and
yeah,
to hold them accountable,
yes,
especially for things that they're going to say. I remember Joe Biden saying, um, black America, or black Americans has always had his back, so he would have. theirs.
Yeah, honestly, Joe was an ass because in one of his no, because in one of his interviews, I don't know if you saw this, but with Charlemagne the God, he said basically he felt entitled to the black votes. You know, he felt too
Yeah, I
confident.
remember.
Like he felt way too confident. Like just because you know that black people hate Trump more than we like you, that doesn't mean you don't have to still work for our votes. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you still don't have to like really like you know what I'm saying, like provide and fight and benefit the people, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like he was just feeling way too confident and cocky, and Kamala being on the ticket was definitely too to help with, you know, getting black votes. Like
Mm,
I think he knew like either way we were gonna vote for him just because we do not want Trump in office. You know what
mm,
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
But I can't speak for all of the black community because there are some Trump supporters that are black.
Hmm. Yeah.
Talk about them.
Um, I just want to see him actually do the things he said he was gonna do.
Yeah,
That's my biggest thing.
yeah,
Because he's had quite a long career in politics.
right.
Um, and he said he was gonna do a lot of things. He had the opportunity to do a lot of things, but um, we're not really seeing the change that we want to see.
No.
Um,
Going to be gradual because the system wasn't made for us, you know.
yeah.
We just need to eradicate the whole system as a whole and start from scratch, start
Do you think that's actually
anew.
gonna happen though?
I mean, listen, if Trump runs for president again and it's Trump versus Biden, yeah, then there's definitely going to be a whole revolution. I think the young people, there's going to be an uprising, you know.
Mm,
I don't know, I don't think realistically that's going to happen because people are lazy. Americans are lazy. They're not, not all, but like there's a lot more that goes into it than destroying the whole system. You like what's next? Who's in charge next? What are the rules and guidelines actually going to be? I don't think anyone really wants to rebuild and start anew, but it definitely is necessary. Cause like it's scary. Okay, we eradicate the whole system. What's next? How do we make a system that was better than the first? What goes into it? What parts play into it? You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
it's like a what if situation.
yeah.
Yeah, you never really know.
I I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of pessimistic in this regard. I don't think that's gonna ever happen. We live in America. This country was built on things that aren't, you know, y- institutionalized racism is still a problem.
Right.
People of color are put down, women are put down, people of the LGBTQ community,
Mm-hmm.
um, also face hardships. I
Right.
honestly don't think that, as much as I would want it to, I feel like in some way, like
Mm-hmm.
there's always gonna be something that is wrong with America.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say that we should stop fighting. That's not to say that we should stop trying to change things, because we can definitely make things better.
Right.
But I feel like in some way there's always something going to be wrong with our country. And I feel like that's normal. Nothing, we don't live in a perfect world.
Mhm.
I don't think we would ever get to that point where everything's and everyone is totally happy, because yeah.
Yeah, that's the peace situation or an environment where everyone's is totally happy. That's never going to exist. People are always going to disagree because it's human nature, but also too like I take pride in our country. I love our country. I love our constitution. And you know, that's another thing too. It's such a constitution is just a big part of like the foundation. So it's just like when you're devising a new one and you're creating a new system, it's all tricky, you know.
Mm,
We'll never really have, it's not like a black and white situation. We'll never fully have the answers and we'll never fully be where we want to be, but you know, like you being the activist that you are, I know sometimes the work that you do can be hopeless, you know, at points you do feel hopeless, but I know sometimes I feel hopeless. Like we just had like an existential crisis the other day. We were talking like, does our work matter? Why are we working so hard to change things if we're only going to see a little bit of change? But we can't live with ourselves just not doing anything, just being complacent. So it's more like we still have hope and we
Yeah.
still have faith, or else we wouldn't be doing what we're doing because we really can't live like this. I can't. That's not me. Like, I can't just be complacent and live silently and allowing this to happen. Like, I refuse because this is not how our people are supposed to live.
Yeah. Not at all. Not at all. And hopefully, th- with these next 4 years, we're able to see at least some change in our country.
These next
Yeah,
4 years are going to be interesting. I'm excited.
yeah, I'm excited to see what happens too. But you have any final thoughts?
No, none whatsoever. I just look forward to the day we actually have a candidate, um, presidential candidates that, we deserve. And politics isn't a total joke, I look forward to the day where we don't have to choose between the lesser of the two evils.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
I look forward to that day too. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on today, Miss Saunders.
Thank you so much
Um,
for having me.
of course, I appreciate your insight and your opinions. And you're welcome back anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for the listeners who listened today. Peace out, everybody.